Hey everybody, RPG Guy here from the Chairman of the Board Show. If you haven't been watching our show, check it out. I'm not going to promote it until after the video further, but I'm a little excited to show off something that arrived today, literally today. And it is, well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what has been going on with the people over at Hasbro, and a little bit of the history of this game here known as Heroquest. Which Heroquest came out, I believe, in 1989, 1990, 1989, somewhere in there. And this is my copy here that I've had forever. A few pieces have been replaced over the years, just because, I had this as a kid, and many people are familiar with this game. It is a dungeon crawler, fantasy adventure game. And it was a lot of fun back in the day. Had a couple expansions. Some that came out in the U.S., some that came out in the U.K. I actually have the U.S. expansions. I don't think I have the U.K. ones, but those are in the attic, and I'm not dragging all that out. But because what happened was this game went out of production many years ago, and a lot of people have been foaming out the mouth to get it again, because it is a decent, well-balanced game. It has its problems like any game from the 80s and early 90s, but for its time it was beloved, it was classic, it was one of the great OG role-playing fantasy games that existed out in the world. And one of the unfortunate events was there was a Kickstarter some years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago, that tried to reproduce this entire game. Hasbro shut them down, or Milton Bradley, I think, shut them down. So one of the two companies shut them down. The creator endorsed the guy making it, but the creator didn't own the full rights. There's a whole backstory to all of that. So that project got canceled. However, in light of that, people said, well, if you're not going to reprint the game, let someone else reinvent it or recreate it or redo it. And they said no. And then later we find out that they were remaking it. I don't do a lot of openings of boxes and crap like that. Let's show it off. But I thought I'd do a video of not just showing off the new Heroquest, which I have the Mythic tier. So this comes with the expansions, I believe. And the expansions, I don't know if they're in here or if they're going to come later. It was one of those weird kind of things I needed to double check. But they redid HeroQuest. Hasbro finally did it. And it arrived to me yesterday evening. Apparently shipped from China, so pretty close, at least within the same state. And so I figure, let's do an unboxing. I don't normally do unboxings. I don't really find them that necessary. But we'll take a look. We have a plan to play this, actually, too, on the show. We're right now in the middle of a campaign of Descent, Journeys in the Dark 2nd Edition. But maybe we'll take a break from that once we complete that adventure, that campaign. And then we'll, play this. Okay, so what do we got here? Ooh. Well, here's the box. And what's great is we can do direct comparisons, too. So there is the new HeroQuest box. And what do we got in here? It looks like we also have... Let me move that further down. So you guys can see that here are... I guess the expansions are in here. And there's something else in here, too. Ooh. Oh my goodness, so many boxes, so many goodies. So we've got Keller's Keep and Return of the Witch Lord here, which is cool. And then we have this. I'm going to put it about here so you can see it. It looks like all the other promo stuff that was offered to people who kickstarted this, which wasn't done on Kickstarter. It was done on Hasbro Plus, which is their technical Kickstarter. So how do we go through this first? Well, let's take a look at this box here. This box here. Because that way we don't have to worry about comparing until the end here. Now, they did a lot of miniatures that were exclusives. I think we ended up getting, even though we didn't meet the the 100% completion, they pretty much gave it to us anyway, which I've heard is a big thing with the big company Kickstarters, because they're like, they've already kind of paid for it. Once it meets the requirement, they kind of pay for the rest of it anyway. If it goes pretty high, if they're very close, they kind of... Nice companies seem to give all the rewards. So Hasbro, I mean, I can't tell about the quality of the game, per se. We're not there yet, but we will get there to the quality of the pieces. I'm also probably, me and Scotty were talking about painting miniatures, and we'll probably paint these and not paint these. These are collector's items as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I'm using a bottle open, a wine corkscrew to open these. They have a good little knife. What can I say? Okay, we got miniatures here. We've got game pieces, so we'll have to figure some of that out. What do we have? Oh man, we have big thick quest books. The Prophecy of Teir, which is a quest book we were offered. The Crypt of Perpetual Darkness, which was also offered as well. And some of these were done by famous people, by Stephen Baker. I forget who these people are, to be fair. Joe Manganiello had done the Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. And Teos Abadia, I don't remember who these people were off the top of my head. And Spirit Queen's Torment. So we have all these campaigns here. This is great. This is great, because I can DM the base game, and these two expansions here, well, my friends can DM or be the evil wizard for these, because I don't know these ones at all. Now, what do we got in here? We've got all kinds of miniatures that we were promised. From what it looks like, we have abominations. I see goblins with punching knuckles. I see mummies, skeletons, chaos warriors. I see an evil wizard, or at least a different kind of wizard. I see different characters in here. Because they gave us different characters. Here's the dragon miniature we didn't reach in the Kickstarter, but they gave it to us. It's a neat little dragon too. He doesn't seem like a giant dragon. He seems like kind of a smaller than Smaug dragon, but I'm not going to complain. Reminds me of kind of the dragon from The Hobbit, the board game, actually. We've got, it looks like, probably a gargoyle. This is how they did the gargoyle. A little smaller than I think the original, but again, those things are different. Yeah, and remember, these enemies are based off of Warhammer, the Warhammer franchise. They used to be anyway. We got, it looks like chaos warriors here. I'll zoom in on some of this stuff as needed for you guys at home. I know this isn't the best camera for a lot of this, but I'm just really showing off what came in this kit. I see a set of dice. Ooh, the dice feel nice. Just from that little bit of touching. And then I see in here they created some new character classes. Again, and they also did female versions of the characters. Again, that kind of stuff I don't find that important. It's just it's a nice touch. It's not paramount to being able to enjoy the game. And I'm not going to get into much more of my opinion on that because there's no point. I kind of flipped up, didn't it? Yeah, I got nicked the box a little. That's okay. I'm not selling this ever. Let's see. So yeah, they added the female. Okay. Oh no, the female versions of the playable characters are here. That'll make Scotty happy. He likes looking at the ladies. And it looks like the male elf is in here, and I bet you the female elf is in the base game. Which in the original game they were all male. Which again, I have no opinion on that. But here are the miniatures. Let me show those two for you. Lots of cool miniatures to paint. I'm kind of excited. The plastic feels pretty good on it too. It's hard to gauge it until I start actually trying to paint it, but 5 miniatures, 4 character cards. I like how they fit it in this box too. And then we have, I think these are the special. So this is a deck of cards, and I believe these are the specialty classes that they invented for this game. Which I think for the base game, I would tell my friends we're not using the specialty characters for the original adventure, but for all these other adventures, we can do whatever we want. There's a bard here. Your spirit and song inspire and invigorate your allies. You prefer to stay light on your feet, so when you are wearing non-metal armor and not carrying a shirt, you have one extra defense die. There's a Warlock. That's kind of cool. Your Warlock, a magic artillerist who has bonded with a sinister creature, allowing you to assume its winged form. Let your allies protect you while you deal damage from afar. Counts as wizard hero in terms of which weapons, artifacts, and equipment that they can use. So there might be a miniature. It could be this one here that she turns into, because it says you turn into, allowing you to assume its winged form with a sinister creature. So that's a winged form here. That I thought was a gargoyle. So that might be. It's not red though, so I don't know. Again, we've got to read the instructions. We've got some magic cards here as well. Druid. You are a druid, a woodland guardian and healer. You are a powerful physical combatant while using your shapeshift spell, but you can be weak when your resources are depleted. A druid hero may not wear metal armor. And then a wizard. And what is this? Because there is a wizard already in the game. So what is the deal with this? You are the wizard. You have the ability that has many different spells. However, you cannot wear armor or use large weapons. Therefore, you must cast your spells wisely and avoid physical combat where you are weak. So that didn't tell us anything about that. I'm wondering if it's maybe different spells, which is what we have here. Okay, here are the Druid Spells. Pixie Life Force. The Druid Spells kind of look like that. And, you know, they have the animation, the artwork rather, from style similar to the original. The spell may be cast on any one hero, including yourself. Its magical power immediately restores up to 4 lost body points, but it does not give the hero more than their starting number. So it's a healing spell. Pixie. This spell conjures up a pixie who does one of the following. Restores up to 2 body points that have been lost to one hero or search. The pixie reveals all traps and secret doors in any location you see. That's cool. Any other Druid spells? No. Oh, another one. Shapeshift. Shapeshift grants you one defense die and 1 extra attack die. It doesn't say extra, but I think that's what it meant. Shapeshift grants you 1 defense dice and 1 extra attack dice when attacking a monster that you are adjacent to. This spell is broken when a hero suffers 1 body point of damage. Regain the spell when your body points return to their starting number. So this is a recoverable spell. And for those of you wondering, you're right, I did not show the characters. There's the Bard. My first time doing an open unboxing, so I apologize up front. There's the Warlock. There's the Druid. So you're seeing a lot of the promotional stuff first. Then here's the alternative Wizard. Which, again, I don't know anything about all that much what the deal is with that. I don't remember. Other than maybe there's some alternative spells to look at. Okay, so there's that. Which will end up getting moved into the main box at some point here. 2 artifacts, Crown of Shadows and Dragon Spear. Pretty sure that they belong to these quest books that are here. The artifacts cards here probably look like that. I'm gonna just show these. I'm not gonna read these to you as much because they're not pertinent. They're only pertinent to the quest that they think they're applied to. Artifact cards. We have Warlock Spells. We have 3 of those. And we have some Bard Spells, and we have some equipment changes here. Let me look at these equipment cards. Dagger and Wand. And it looks like this can only be used by the Warlock and this dagger. Okay, just another dagger. So we got equipment cards that kind of look like that. Okay, let's see. We've got Warlock and Bard Spells. Is this another piece of gear? Yeah, it's another piece of gear. Oh, Rapier. Okay, so another piece of gear, probably Bard friendly. I know the Warlock Spells are over here. Demon form. The Warlock ignores pit traps and may roll 1 extra combat die Each time they attack until the spell is broken. The spell is broken when the hero suffers 1 body point of damage. Regain the spell when you reduce a monster's body points to 0. That's interesting. They pretty much become, from the look of the artwork, they better be careful not to get sued by Dungeons and Dragons, because that clearly looks like a oh gosh, why can't I think of their name right now? It's left me. It looks like a creature that is copywritten by D&D. So the flying mouth with all the eyes. What are they called? Oh boy, this is gonna bug me. I can't think of their name right now. Because any other time I could just go right over there and look, but I'm not going to do that. We've got Fear and Darkwind. Just to give you an idea, the cover art for the card looks like that. Fear. This spell causes any one monster to become so fearful that their attacks are reduced to 1 combat die. The spell can be broken on a feature by rolling 1 die, red die, for each of their mind points. If a 6 is rolled, the spell is broken. Dark Wings. Cast a spell on an enemy's turn after you have suffered damage. Reduce that damage to 0 and move instantly to any unoccupied square you can see. Okay. It's like an evasion spell. Pretty cool. It's gonna bug me now that I can't think of the names of and there's all different kinds of them too. Oh well. It'll come back to me later. Bard Spells. So there's our doing his best Captain Morgan impression there. Inspiring Tale. This spell may be cast on any one hero, excluding yourself. The next time that hero attacks, they may roll 1 extra combat die. Regain this spell when any hero you can see, excluding yourself, rolls defense die that results in 2 white shields. So they inspire you to sing the song. Get it? Healing Song heals 2 body points, and it's 1 use. Lullaby. This spell puts enemies into a deep sleep so they cannot move, attack, or defend themselves. The spell can be broken at once or on a future turn if the enemy rolls 1 red die for each of their mind points. If a 6 is rolled, the spell is broken, but not be used on mummies, zombies, or skeletons because they cannot be put to sleep. What is that enemy type? Oh, geez. Any other time, I can immediately think of. I can immediately think of it. Oh well. So it looks like we're going to take these dice out because, if anything, I'm going to add them to the dice that might be in here if they come that way. If they come in like a setup or what have you, special kind of setup. I don't want to actually combine all this yet. It's on the tip of my tongue. So yeah, there we go. We got a punch. We'll punch these out later. It looks like we've got different little rooms here. These are punch out squares, so these are tokens for something. And then this is like a map square, so probably an overlay of some kind. So yeah, that's cute. This is a neat little expansion that I'm glad I got. This is the Mythic tier content, so this was exclusive to the people who paid, I believe, for the Mythic tier along. Oops, and I forgot to put the quest books in here. Because I'm going to resort a lot of this anyway at some point. A lot of this is probably going to end up in the main box, excluding the miniatures. But I like the way that the miniatures are being held in here. So, not the Dominator. That's not what they're called. Oh man, it's just so weird that all of a sudden I can't remember what they're called. All right, we'll move that over here to the side. And we can look at. Let's look at Return of the Witch Lord quest pack. So this was one of the OG expansions that came out with the game that in the 80s. I believe this original expansion came out in the 90s, in like 91 or somewhere between 91 and 93. And they were pretty pricey when they came out, which is why I believe a lot of people didn't buy them, even though they owned the game. And the idea of expanding a board game was kind of unheard of. Not unheard of literally, but it just wasn't something that was normally done. So we have the quest book for Return of the Witch Lord. We have again another set of tiles to punch out, specialty tiles and all that. I'm not going to undo these cards. Even though I think they're all artifact cards, they're exclusive to this adventure. So when we get to this adventure, we do it. But it looks like it comes with 2 doors, a wooden door and a metal like overlord door. That's really cool. I like that. That's gonna be fun to paint because it's really simple. It means you can do a lot with when designs are simple. There's a lot you can do. We've got our wooden door, so they gave us 2 extra doors, and we have an army of skeletons that look like they click into place. This one actually looks broken. Poor guy. What happened to you? Nothing some super glue won't fix. But I think this one's broken. We'll be careful with that. The rest of these are fine. Let me check them now. And that happens. It doesn't even look broken. It actually looks like it was not. There's one of these was just not glued on. Oh, you can see the glue. It popped off. Okay. So somehow this is supposed to fit on, I think. So yeah, we'll fix this guy. He's fixable. Again, if sometimes when you buy a game, you get one miniature that's broken. You don't necessarily have to return it. You just need to sit down and spend maybe 10 minutes to fix it. As long as the plastic is still intact, which it is on that one, and I can see why. The way that this goes in is weird. And that's what caused it to break, I think. We've got zombies with swords and shields. I don't want to touch the skeletons because they're very flimsy. They're very fragile. That's a little disappointing. These skeletons with their scythes are a little fragile. That's probably that'll probably be the candidate for worst miniature in the set. There's the mummy. Closer for you guys. The mummy there. I don't know if it's focusing well so you can see. The white miniatures are going to be pretty hard to see, unfortunately. I'll do the zombie again. Closer. Cool stuff. Very cool stuff, guys. So, yeah. Okay. We got a skeleton to repair. Again, not a big deal. I've got a big old thing of super glue. Take me roughly 5 minutes to do. It won't even take that long, guys. It'll take like a minute and a half to just glue it back on. You shouldn't have to glue it back on. This is a special thing. It's not like I'm missing pieces. If I am missing pieces, that would be something I would then get a hold of Hasbro if I was missing stuff, or if something was so destroyed or shattered that I couldn't use it. Then I would say, hey, you owe me some extra skeletons here, my friend. But one skeleton not connected, I'm reluctant to complain. So we've got Killer's Keep. This was, I think, of the expansions, I think this was my favorite one when I played it years ago in ancient times. So let's take a look at Killer's Keep. Here we've got our adventure book, the Killer's Keep. It's got an alchemist shop accessible in it. I don't know if it's something that you use in the base game or not, so I'm reluctant to do that. We've got more punch-outs. No major tiles in this one, I don't think. It looks like it's just straight up punch-outs. This looks like a broken sharded thing. Magic, probably identifier, and it looks like some bridges, maybe. Or I think these are big Actually, I think these are big. I think these are stairways. More walls along, added hallway, pit traps, some other stuff, trap-wise, a lava pit. So yeah, stuff that I think was in the original. And then we've got all the artifacts and stuff for the alchemy shop that are in this deck of cards. I'm not going to open those right now, because I don't want to add them to the deck. Same as the last time, we have 2 doors. We have a wooden door, and we have the stone door with the stone and metal door with the skull on it. We've got abominations. We've got these large orcs here. The reason I'm not showing the abominations, I'm going to show one right now, but just in case they're different design. But they got rid of the femurs because they are copywritten Warhammer 20,000 or whatever. So they're copyright Warhammer. That's why they had to create a new creature. So they created abominations. Don't know how I feel about that. I don't know why they didn't. Other than the obvious copyright conflict, I still don't quite understand why that's an issue. Because if it was in the original game, but they may have had the licensing for those creatures. It looks like we've got different types of orcs. We've got we have orc women in here. We have orc men. Two different types of orc men, I believe. We have an orc man that's got a big old axe. And we've got an orc man that's got a big old sword. And here, come on. Orc man that's got a big old sword. Okay. Again, I know this is not the best angle. I don't usually do unboxing videos, and I don't really have a setup to do that. I don't have things set up in a way to do that because this camera is mounted to the ceiling. We have, come on. Oh, they're really in there, aren't they? I don't want to pull too hard. Let somebody else break my stuff, not me. And then I can say, dude, you broke my stuff. Female orc who has a big old war mace. Which is always fun. Who doesn't like war maces? I like the goblin designs. They look very Paizo, you know, Pathfinder goblin-y. There we go, got it out. And we've got female ones and male ones. We have one pair of females. Ooh, yeah, the plastic on some of these is a little flimsy, a little cheap. We'll have to probably green stuff, I think, some of their feet and stuff just to make sure they don't freaking break. Yeah, so the little tiny goblin, as I drop it like a jackass. Yeah, this is kind of flimsy, cheap plastic. A little disappointed in that plastic quality on the smaller miniatures. You know, you need to make sure they are reinforced or they fall apart. Or they break. I mean, it made sense back in the day because they really didn't have too many techniques back then. I mean, they had enough to probably do it, but it wasn't common. Like this one too is very flimsy with our little female goblin. Flimsy little legs. Which might explain why that is. And they've got two little daggers. I'd have to say the male goblins. See, the male goblin legs are thicker, so they don't bend. So that's really the problem. Was the designs that they did for the female goblins. The legs are thinner, and thus the miniature is more fragile. These guys are a little sturdier, not by much, but they're a little sturdier. They're not as disappointing. I probably wouldn't have noticed that issue, except for what we just witnessed there. Yeah, I can't get the camera to focus properly on these if I get too close, so. And then the other goblin here is holding what looks like a cleaver of some sort. You can see the cleaver there in his hand. So that would conclude Keller's Keep, I believe. A lot of neat miniatures, unless there's something hiding under the box, but I don't think so, and I'm not going to dig around to look. If there is, that's impressive they were able to hide it there. That'll be fun. I remember Keller's Keep better than I remember the Witchlord one. I think I only played Return of the Witchlord once. So, okay. Now we get into the big dealie here. The OG base Heroquest game that we're going to take a look at. Yeah, just looking on the back of it, they went with the female elf. And then the rest of the characters are roughly the same that they had before. It also looks like, well, the miniatures are roughly the same. Just say I was wondering if they were different. It doesn't look like that, except for maybe the Chaos Warrior. The Chaos Warrior miniature on the back of the box here looks different. I'm gonna get cut these stickers first that hold it closed, but then I'll show you guys the back of the box because I know that I want somebody to be like, "You didn't show the back of the box, bro." Unsubscribed. Like I said in the beginning, I don't really do these videos, so if I forget to show something, or you guys aren't too keen or happy about the detail that I can show stuff, I apologize. But I am excited about this. This was one of my big childhood memories, was this game, and playing this game with a few friends that I had that would actually play this game. Growing up in a household that was more sports oriented, I was the weird one out. So here's the back of the box. The quest continues. And I'll take a read for you. In this exciting fantasy adventure game, you and your fellow players must work together to battle the evil sorcerer Zargon and complete the quests. Playing the hero roles of the Barbarian, the Dwarf, the Elf, or the Wizard, you'll all move cautiously through a labyrinth of eerie dark dungeons. Ghastly monsters will prowl the underground passages far below the surface of the known world. Zargon's deadly forces threaten, but wise mentor has taught you well. That sentence is kind of weird. Find the treasure and make it out safely, or all perish together. The heroes. For many years, the land has been at peace. The darkness that once threatened to engulf it is forgotten. But the darkness was not destroyed, merely banished, and now it gathers strength once more, and an ancient evil stirs in the depths of the earth. The land has need of heroes, for without them we are doomed. Stunning artwork. The character is the Barbarian, the Mighty Warrior, Dwarf, resilient fighter with a keen eye, Elf, master of sword and spell, and Wizard, wielder of powerful magic. Contains 31 monster miniatures, 4 hero miniatures, 15 furniture pieces, 10 skull pieces, 4 plastic rat pieces, 21 dungeon doors, 93 game cards, 4 turn order cards, cover tiles, quest book, 4 character cards, game master screen, pad of character sheets, 6 white combat dice, 2 red dice, and the rulebook. The parent of Avalon Hill company, Hasbro. 14 and up, 2 to 5 players. Which I recommend you play this with 5 players, or you play this with 3 players. Because what you do is you get your friends, your buddies, your pals, your bros, your dude friends, your lady friends, your all friends, anyone you can think of. What you get them to do is you get them to play, each other of your buddies plays 2 heroes, and then one person plays Zargon the Evil Wizard. So, what do we got? Ooh, what do we got here? Oh, this is in layers here. They might have did a good job with the packaging of this. Oh, they did. That's so delightful to see. All of the miniatures are in this box. Wow, the Barbarian had his sword bent a little bit. Whoopsies. We'll straighten that out. I've got a tool for that. We'll straighten that out. That's a shame. That's sometimes that happens. But he popped out of his little area, and thus everything got kind of damaged for him. But that's okay. Actually, it looks like he was put in the wrong way. He was put in facing, not forward in the mold. So that might have been what. I don't know how they got placed. I don't know if it was a machine that placed him or if it was a human being. Might have been a human being, but they placed him the wrong direction. So that would be what happened there. Yeah, the Chaos Warriors look different in this one as opposed to the expansion. So no complaint from me. And maybe they were female ones and I couldn't really tell. Because I know that they did that. We have Evil Wizard miniature. There is actually in the in there. Whatever. I do believe that there is a Sir Ragnar miniature in here. So that came with the Mystic tier stuff. We've got our set of dice. These I'd probably take out and put in a bag, so they don't get lost or mishandled. But we have an extra set of dice, so it just depends. I will probably renegotiate how everything kind of fits in these cases. In the main case. Sometimes you just got to figure out the best way to do it. One of the things I might even do for this is I actually get foam cases, and I might take, once these miniatures get painted, I'll debate whether I want to put them back in here, because they're going to be a little thicker with the paint and the green stuff and some of the other materials that I would use to repair some of these, as well as to ensure that they don't get broken. Because yeah, this sword is easily bendable by a small child who's not paying attention, or a drunken friend who's getting way too involved in the game. Because you might say, oh, I'm going to grab him by the sword and move him that way. It's like, please don't grab him by the sword. That sword is very fragile. Which, yeah, I was hoping that the plastic quality would be a little better on some of these miniatures. Like the dwarf, even the dwarf's axe is very flimsy. That's scary. That's pretty scary. I mean, again, we can glue it back on. I'm going to talk to Scotty. He's pretty much the master of painting in this group, of what we can do to reinforce some of these miniatures. But we're going to be painting Descent stuff coming up later, coming up in the future. So those miniatures are going to get priority. These will be a while before we get to painting them. There's our elf, which looks pretty cool. I like the elf. I like the way the elf looks. The elf's pretty cool. And then we got our wizard. That's the class I like to play when I was playing a character. It's a wizard. So, okay. Yeah, these Chaos Warriors look different than the other ones, I think. Maybe I'm just not remembering it correctly, but they look great. I like them. They're definitely made to not look as much like the Warhammer ones. That's very true, for sure. We've got the skeleton. Oh, the skeleton's jacked too. This skeleton's not too happy. He got crushed. His arm and weapon got crushed. I probably should. Yeah, you can see his got kind of damaged too. That sucks. But what are you gonna do? You know, complain about it all we want. It doesn't change the fact that it's damaged, and that I might contact Hasbro and see if I can get them to send me a new Barbarian and a couple skeletons. Because yeah, there's more than a few pieces that have been misformed in here because the plastic's kind of cheap on the miniatures. Again, I don't think that's a deal breaker entirely. Again, you can reinforce. There are ways to reinforce a lot of these miniatures. The gargoyle's not as interesting. He's cool, but I like him in the original more. They didn't give him the whip. They gave him an axe. They took his whip away. I don't want to know. I'm sure there's some reason why they did that. I'm more concerned. To me, it probably is a politically correct reason, which is ridiculous. But it is what it is, and I don't care that much. And nor should you, because maybe it looks too much like the Warhammer one, and I'm just speculating. I think it's just because there's so much of it out in the world. Immediately, my brain thinks that's the reason why that happened. We've got another miniature here. That's the wizard, the dark wizard, which sometimes, I believe in the original game, was used for Ragnar. Or whatever the Sir Reinar, whatever the guy's name was. I'll open the little expansion later and double check. But yeah, I mean, I like the designs of the miniatures, but the plastic, like I said, is a little cheap. And that can be a deal breaker. I mean, the ones that come with Fantasy Flight with Descent, Journeys in the Dark, Arcadia Quest, those miniatures, even Gloomhaven's miniatures are much better quality than this. These miniatures are kind of cheap. And it really shows, because when they shipped the package, there was damage done to some of these miniatures just from being packaged. So that tells you that tells you a little bit. You know, if you're one of those people that demands perfection, you're not getting it here. You're not getting a perfect. Oh, there we go. That's how it fits in there. You're not getting a perfect. You're not getting something that's like perfect. Again, I still don't find it to be a deal breaker, but it is a little mildly disappointing. Oh, yes. The furniture. So here's all of our doors. These all look open, like open doors. They gave us closed doors in the other kit, it looks like. Or there's more stuff below. We just haven't gotten there. Big, giant notepad for our character sheet. This is great. I like this. We've got, it looks like pieces and parts that, yeah, there's skulls. One of these skulls is crushed. Yeah, skulls that probably go on other pieces. We've got the fireplace to paint. Now, in the original, some of these were made from cardboard. I'll show those to you in a little bit. That's not going to get in. That's not going to go in there. Weird how there's like these two little hole divots. So these are numbered A, B, C, and D. These look like animal skulls and human skulls. Something to it. I don't want to push these in too hard and damage this further. So we'll just leave it like that. Now actually, looks like it went in like this. We've got what looks like the reading podium. The candles are bent. One of the candles is bent. So, but it's this part of the base is pretty sturdy. So why didn't they use the same plastic for the smaller pieces? I don't know. Or they did, and it's just when it's that thin, that's how flimsy it is. So we have the pedestal, the podium, whatever you want to call it, the altar, whatever you want to call that. Probably in the manual. We've got the torture rack that needs to be painted. The other one had a cardboard base, as did the other. They were half cardboard, half plastic. Which now, these being all plastic, you would think would be sturdier. The chair is all plastic instead of just the frame. The throne. Call it the chair. It's not much of a throne. We've got two tables that are completely identical. I'll just show you the one as I drop it like a jackass. There's our table. Excited about tables. How are you excited about tables? Because they're tables. Oh, the lovable, everybody's favorite weapon rack. If it'll even come out of here. There we go. I'd be afraid to put a lot of this back in here. There's our weapon rack. That's why I'm probably going to get a foam case once these we decide to paint these. This is the Alchemy Table right here. Looks pretty. That's a nice piece. These are the rats. I'm not going to take them out because they're very small. That are going to go on top, I believe, of the bookshelves along with the skulls. We've got some chests. I'm going to just take one chest out. Here, well, that's really in there. So there's the chest. Again, these are made mostly of cardboard with a plastic base. It'll be fun to paint all this. And correct it. There's the tomb. Oh, look at that. The tomb actually opens. Oh, that's great. That's a nice little touch. The tomb is openable. I mean, I don't personally care, but it's a nice little touch. The tomb can be opened. And then I don't want to pull out maybe both of these bookshelves. Well, the two of the bookshelves are exactly identical, are completely identical. So here's a bookshelf that's open, and you can see little things inside to paint, and they don't come out, so don't worry about that. Cool. And then we have an armoire, that's got closed doors. These are pretty heavy too. They're pretty sufficient. That's why some of the lighter plastic stuff is kind of disappointing that it's broken. And it looks like all these doors are open doors. Oh, no, they're not. I take that back. There's some closed doors back here. So there we go. Closed doors. Cool. And we have some extra closed doors in some of the expansions, I think. And then we have the open doors. So these used to be made out of cardboard, and they would be misformed and to get destroyed. I don't know anyone who owns this game from the back in the day who has every door completely protected. It's just one of those pieces that gets damaged all the time. Here's the deck of cards. I'm reluctant to open these, but I may as well, because we have these expanded characters. Well, let's take a look. We have these Heroquest cards. Probably the monsters or the heroes or both. No, turn order cards. Okay, that's nice. The original game didn't have. They had it on the back of the character cards, which were more like little plaques instead of cards. The wizard. We've got the elf. They get one element. The wizard gets the rest. And then the dwarf. You are a good warrior and have a unique ability to disarm traps without a toolkit. To do so, you must avoid rolling the black shield on a combat die. And the Barbarian. Everybody's favorite, the Barbarian. The greatest warrior of all, but beware of magic, for your sword is no defense against it. Because Crunk only knows how to smash. We're going to go ahead and put the Bard, the Druid, the Warlock, and the Wizard in here. And actually, we can do one more, and I don't know if... I think it was... in the Mythic Tier box was the female variants of the characters. What I will do is move this out of the way for just a moment. So we can make room here. I believe their cards were in here, along with their miniatures. As I dropped like one card. That's why I don't want it in the box, because that's going to happen. Luckily, it's only on my foot. So the Barbarian, the Dwarf, the Elf, and the Wizard in this one. We'll put them in with the other classes here. They're all there. They're all together. Yay. This looks like Chaos Magic. Or enemies. Oh, it is. Dread. Yeah, they don't call them Chaos Warriors. They're Dread Warriors, because again, what I said earlier. And these, I'm not going to show all of these in one go, but they show the enemy attack stats. Pretty much the enemy stats is public information. Sometimes it's not. There's the Abomination. Sometimes it's not. It really depends on the quest that you're doing. I will show all these, actually. The Gargoyle. The artwork is great. Here's the Goblin Mummy. I usually put them in order by strength. The Mummy, and by their base color. So the Undead usually go next to the Dread Warrior. The Abomination is going to be the strongest of the green miniatures. The Orc, Skeleton, and the Zombie out of the way. Orc. As I think it froze. Okay, had a bit of a freeze there. The Orc here. And here's my Abomination. Abomination, I think we showed. I think I showed the Mummy. We have the skeleton and the zombie. So the skeleton and the zombie. Cool artwork. I just wish that plastic wasn't as cheap. Who knows? Maybe they'll fix that. We've got our deck of treasure cards. We've got a bunch of treasure cards. I'm not showing all of those. We've got our elemental magic cards. Fire, water, earth, and wind, I believe is what they used to be. Fire. These spells not even in order. Air. Earth. And water, yeah. Then we have the Dread Spells, the evil wizard spells. And we have equipment cards. Which, instead of a big shot board, it looks like they've given us cards to use instead, which I'm fine with. The artifact cards can go here, equipment cards, and you shove in the equipment deck. I don't really care where they are as long as they're in that pile. Okay, let's go ahead and put these miniatures back. It'll be nice when I have, a legit container for these miniatures. That's a nice big one, so I don't have to have multiple boxes sitting around. Because then I'll be able to get all the adventures and all the other miniatures that are a little sturdier. I can put them in the OG box if they don't fit in the main game box if they don't fit in these other ones. But yeah, that's my plan anyway. All right, we've got ourselves here a game board. We'll take a look at this. I might have to do a comparison in another video. If you guys really like this video, let me know, and I'll do a comparison of the original Heroquest. So the board is a 4-fold instead of a half-fold here. The board looks a little bigger too. Yeah, this board looks a little bigger. I'm not gonna lie. This board looks a little bigger. It feels a little flimsier too. That's an issue in and of itself. But it's there. That's what's important. Oh, and the bards. You know what? The magic spells. Where do they end here? Where do they start? Because we got to add the other classes spells in here. Here's where the air magic begins. We're gonna just throw them right in there. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to see, in its own way, I want to see if they will fit in the box this way. I have a feeling they won't, which is not, again, it's not a problem. But it means that this has to be repackaged in a different way. Yeah, that's a very big, little bit of a bulge there. You're probably not going to fit, which is fine. I'll take out a section of them and put them elsewhere if I have to. Like what we can do is take these out, leave the... So we have the monsters, the heroes, and the play sheets. And it looks like it fits everything up to the artifacts. So I took all the heroes out, I took all the turn order stuff out, and I took all the monster cards, stat cards out. And now it perfectly fits. We'll do something else with those hero cards. So that way when we come to play this, I know where they are. These things are cool, but these sleeves of to hold everything are pretty cool, but they weren't considering all this expanded stuff, which is fine. Now what's this at the bottom here? A spacer? That's exactly what it is. It's a spacer. So that means there might be room for other stuff. Immediately we see what everybody remembers about this game to a degree. The wizard panel, or the DM screen as some people will call it. Hopefully that didn't that freeze wasn't there very long. Okay. So we've got punch outs here of the skulls. I'm not sure what that is. That might be new. Pitfalls, rock slides, the stairs, walls that block. Again, these grates are kind of new. The flip side of the stairs, and secret doors on the back, like in the original game. We have our rule book, which we will go over the rule book another time, because I want to see if what they changed. They may have changed many of the rules. We don't know. The base game book, and I think there's, I don't forget how many quests are in it. 16, I think, or so. 13, maybe. Okay, 14. Return to Barrack Tor. Okay, yeah, Return to Barrack Tor, and that's kind of it. And then a create your own adventure option is that was in the back of the original too. So, yeah. So we'll check those out. I'll check those out on my own later. If I find anything interesting, I'll let you guys know. The character. Okay, this is smaller. This feels a little smaller in width, but that's not a problem. This is the Zargon DM screen, so to speak. It's got all the monster information here. It's got what heroes can do, what monsters can do, and combat summaries here. So all the little tidbits of what you need to know in order to play the game. And roughly that's it. I mean, it's a completed kit. My initial thoughts are that I do like the fact they remade this. I'm glad to see it. I'm a little disappointed with a few elements. Those elements being that the plastic for some of the monsters is very flimsy. So you could argue that all of them are flimsy, and it's the way they're designed with maybe the thin legs, the thin weapons that stick up, and that could be an element of that could also be because of the original design of the creatures. They tried to maybe stick with it a little too closely, and that's what you get. Is you get creatures who are a lot flimsier, monsters who could easily be more damaged. So, I'll probably be repairing. I'll put these in one at a time. I'll probably be repairing those monsters when the time comes to paint them. We'll have to repair them, and when we do paint them, I will show. We are going to be streaming our painting sessions. People have asked us to do that because they've seen some of our miniatures and say, "Man, your miniatures look pretty cool, man. I wonder if this will fit." Not really. I mean, it kind of fits. So because we took this thing out that has nothing on it. In the original game, this was actually the shop sheet, so yeah, we're not gonna be able to do that. I wonder if this will close with this over it. Well, there it does. It does. Strangely enough, it does if you take that white piece out. It's not a perfect all the way to the bottom seal, but it'll fit on my shelf. So there we go. We've got Heroquest. These cards I'm going to have to do something with, but we'll get them in there. This remake, as far as playing it, I don't know how it plays compared to the original, which I've played several times. I'm assuming it's going to play roughly the same, and it'll be great to play all the expansions, all the Mythic tier expansion stuff. I'm excited for those extra quests. Will be fun to see how those turn out. And all of that hubbubaloo. So I am excited. I am excited to start playing this. Like I said, we'll probably rotate with Descent because I don't know if you can see in the camera above, but you should be able to see like on the left side of that screen on the third shelf up, which is the highest shelf you can see completely. You'll see a little blue thing sticking out. That's part of my Gloomhaven kit. But Gloomhaven's there. From left to right is all Descent. It's every expansion for Descent, Journeys in the Darksecond Edition, and I also have the adventure book as well as the autoplay, the three adventures that are done self-automated, so you don't need a fourth bad guy player, as well as all the ones that are available on the app, because there's a second edition app that you can download for free on Steam that also gives you like 4 or 5 adventures for free. So we've got our hands full with these types of games for quite a while, and I'm excited to play this. I've wanted to play this for a long time. We started playing this version, and then literally by the second adventure, the announcement for this came out, so we immediately stopped. Because we said, why don't we just wait for this? But we're gonna paint all these miniatures, because I think painting these miniatures will prevent them from getting harmed. Because, like I said, I'll pull the little one that I have out. I have cases like this. You can get these at like Harbor Freight for like, I think the little one was like $7 or $8. The big ones for the big miniatures that I have was about $20. But I could get a couple of these, and you can see like our miniatures for Descent are in here. And we do a pretty good job painting them. But I can get foam like this. I can cut it out. It's just got a piece of firm material that's holding this all together. The miniatures are actually glued in here. This little guy keeps coming out. I need to redo that. But as you can see, we can cut them to the exact shapes that they need to be. And you can see here, like, this wing should be flimsy, but I struggle to move it. Unlike the miniatures that came with Heroquest. So hopefully we can reinforce those miniatures when we go to paint them. It'll be a while before, like I said, before we actually paint them. As you can see, there's plenty of characters we have not painted after getting every single expansion, including all of the monster expansions and stuff for Descent. So we've got lots of stuff to paint right already. I got to paint all of our Arcadia Quest as well before we start doing that. But that Arcadia Quest is going to definitely be on the back burner. We also need to paint the miniatures to the Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle-earth. That is getting put way on the back burner as well. Same with Gloomhaven. I'm not in any rush. Frosthaven's coming out soon, allegedly. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to get painted, and there's not really any rush to do it. So as far as Descent is going to take priority, then we're going to do a Heroquest right after, because I want to paint these to protect them. And I'm going to order more. I'm going to order these cases that you saw. And it might take 2 of them. I mean, yeah, I could do it in one big case, but there'd probably be a lot of free space. So if I get the big case, I could get the furniture in there. So the big cases are good for furniture. I can show you how I do that really quick, because I like your opinions, because I don't promote my painting stuff that I do on YouTube. So here's the big case, and I've got 2 of these giant cases. Not for Descent. Right now, only one, but I'm gonna need the second one for the new monsters that that we've not painted yet. You can see I've got a layer of monsters here. Some of them haven't been painted. I think every monster in this layer has been painted. All these smaller monsters have been done. And then now this is what came. Those 2 layers did not come with the box. This layer did. And you can see the big guys. The big ones are in here. Here's the multi-elemental enemy. You know, he's like all the elements in one. Kind of a deal. And then there's a boss version of it. As I'm destroying this here. And we've got room for one more big dude as needed. You know, here's one of the expanded villains. One of the expansions. Neat little dragon. That was fun to paint. I believe I painted the shadow dragons. I painted this shadow dragon here. Scotty did the big dragon. I painted the shadow dragons. So yeah, a lot of fun. We do a lot of fun stuff here. Here's another enemy from one of the expansions. I think I did this one. So Scotty did the really hard ones. That's for sure. Yeah, Scotty did this one. Because we weren't sure what the hell the color of this guy. They only show his upper body in most of it. So. But we might change those ravens to a black. I think we talked about that. Anywho. That gives you an idea of what these are the, like I said, you can get these at Harbor Freight really cheap. Harbor Freight is a chain of hardware stores in my area. And I did not put everything back in here. Is a chain of hardware stores, and strangely enough, they sell these boxes for about $20, which is a little pricey. But look at how big it is. There was a panel that went in the lid here that held tools. You can take that panel out, which is how I was able to get these guys in there. I'm going to rotate them because none of these need to be painted. And a lot of these do. And theoretically, I bet you I could get one more layer. So if I can get one more layer in, we'll be good. If I can get one more layer of part pieces in here, I don't think I can, but if I could, and then I probably won't need to use my second box for Descent. But if I can't, then... if I can't get them in there, then, yeah, we use Citadel and Vallejo paint, if you guys are wondering. So there you go. If anybody's wondering, that's what we use. Citadel and Vallejo. Alright, that was our open boxing of Heroquest. This video is already getting long, so like I said, if you guys want to see a comparison between this system and this game, the original... mention so down in the comments and give a thumbs up to the video, and let me know if you'd like to see the differences between the components and all of that. So thanks for stopping by, guys. I'm your host, the RPG Guy, here at Jack Tart Studios on the Chairman of the Board show set with our delicious kegerators in back, because I brew my own beer, and I'm actually going to do some videos on that soon because some people have asked me to. So Here's the brand new and improved Heroquest. I'm excited to play it. It'll be roughly a month or two before we can even get to it. But yeah, we're gonna rotate between Descent and this. I'm pretty sure, to change up the game variety and the game style. And that might, and again, it depends on you guys. So check out our shows. Our Chairman of the Board shows right now of this video posting are on Tuesdays and Fridays from 7:30 to 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. On the Tuesday show, we do Lord of the Rings, Journeys Through Middle Earth, or Gloomhaven, depending on who shows up. And on Fridays, we do Descent Journeys in the Dark Second Edition, and not Lord of the Rings, and Dungeons and Dragons 5th Edition, depending again on who shows up. So that's what we do on those two shows. And we play other board games. We have a big, gigantic library of various board games from Takadoko, Lords of Vegas, Potion Explosions. We have the Stardew Valley board game. We've got Gloomhaven. We have all the expansions to Gloomhaven, including the Lion one or whatever. That's like the standalone. We've got Takedo, Ticket to Ride, Lords of Waterdeep, so on and so forth. We have all these games. And then on Wednesday is the RPG guy. That's me, and I'm playing through various different games, not just RPGs. Many retro, many new. Giving my opinions as I play them, and you guys can give me a hard time. How everybody likes to do that. And we have a good time on that show. And then on Thursday we have Live from the Dumpster with Hobo Headcrab. Hobo is playing retro JRPGs that he missed out on in his childhood, and just is being blown away by playing games like Chrono Trigger, Earthbound. He's now on Shining Force 2. He's never played a Shining game in his life. He's playing Shining Force 2 and just blown away with how much fun he's having with it. And we've got a few stinkers. He's going to be doing Mystic Quest soon. We also are going to eventually be playing Secret of Mana as well at some point, so that'll be fun too. So a lot of fun on that show. We also drink a lot of wine. We're doing an advent calendar where we taste 6 wines a week. That's going to be happening in December, and that's at Thursday nights at about 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. All the times I've given you is Pacific Standard Time. Chairman of the Board is about 7:30 Pacific Standard Time. Sometimes we start a little later. Same with the RPG guy show is roughly 7:30 or 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the Hobo show is definitely going to be 8 o'clock or 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. Sometimes we start at 7:30, but we haven't been able to do that for quite a while, just because of timing, and we have to eat and stuff like that. So anywho, thanks again for stopping by. I'm your host, the RPG Guy, and we will see you guys next time.